What is trust? And why is it so important in the workplace? Why is it important to relationships? Why is it important to getting work done with people and through people? Well, there are some books that say trust is the fabric or trust is the glue. Trust is relationships. Without trust, you do not have a relationship. You have people turning away from each other, which means there is a break in the relationship. When people do not trust each other, it's very difficult to get work done as a team. Most CEOs that I talk to will say we have high trust in our organization. And then when I talk to the people who report to them and the people who report to them, they say, no, we don't have trust. We say one thing and do another. We have these values that they tout, but they don't even operate with the values. And this us versus them talk is an indicator that you don't have strong trust in your organization. Another indicator that you don't have strong trust in your organization is things aren't getting done. There's a lot of strife and struggle just to make changes happen. So, why is trust important? Because it is energy. And energy is what creates environment. And environment is culture. If people are operating in high trust, they take risks. They say things that are uncomfortable to say, but they tell what's their truth. And they call people up to higher levels of leadership. They point out what's incongruent. We say that this is our noble cause and these are our values and this is our thematic goal, but we're not really focusing on what we say we are. In a lack of trust environment, it's like the emperor and his clothes. Nobody tells the emperor they're not wearing any clothes, but they all tell each other that the emperor doesn't have any clothes. High trust is required for authenticity. High trust is required for engagement. High trust is required for innovation. And high trust is required for people to operate in synchronicity. And not just trust between me and my boss. Trust between me and my coworker. Trust between my colleagues. If somebody tells me they've got my back and I leave town, I need to trust that my back is gotten. So how do you build trust in an organization? Well, you start by looking at any areas of distrust that exist and level setting and working with people one-on-one to repair those relationships. Typical reaction to a broken agreement or distrust is I write that person off. I don't give them work anymore. Or I give them less challenging work. Or I start to tell other people that you can't trust that person. But what I'm recommending and what my mentors recommend is that we talk about it and we say, hey, you told me you'd get this done. It didn't get done. I'm left feeling like I can't really trust you and I don't want to work like that. So what do we need to do to restore our belief in each other? What do I need to give you so that you have what you need to keep your agreements? And what do you need to give me so that I can get what you promised me? But it's a two-way street. Often in broken agreements, the communicator didn't say exactly what they needed and by when they needed it, or they talked around it, but they weren't clear. And the listener was unclear and didn't ask for clarification. So this actually takes everybody building the muscle of communication. Components required to build trust. One, making and keeping agreements. But to do that, you have to learn how to make agreements. You have to have clarity, no ambiguity, no confusion, clear by when, what's needed to deliver that agreement. Are you scheduling time in your calendar to deliver that agreement? What support do you need from me to deliver on that agreement? And then you need to be consistent. If you're making and keeping agreements, you have to schedule time not only to deliver the agreement, but actually to do the work to keep the agreement. And then there needs to be communication. If I can't keep my agreement, I let you know before I can't keep my agreement, not the day of not keeping my agreement or after. So you might be saying, well, this is so simple. Why don't people do it? They don't do it because often people don't even know they're not being clear. What's clear to me might not be clear to you. The other thing is, if I'm somebody who has broken agreements, I might have a low self-esteem. So I am afraid, not because you made me afraid, but because I'm afraid to just say, hey, I didn't do what I said I would do. Maybe I come from a background where I was shamed at other jobs or blamed. And so I think if I can hide out and don't admit that I made that agreement, people will forget, but nobody ever forgets. So trust, to build trust, to keep trust, to maintain trust, you have to address distrust. And you also have to make and keep agreements. And when you don't, communicate early and often about that. And then repromise. Don't just forget about your agreement. Go back and say when you can do it. And then there's personal accountability. Like, I have to be accountable. If I have 5 people reporting to me and nobody's getting their work done, I have to say, what is going on in my communication? Or maybe I have the wrong people on the bus, but I get to be responsible because I am the master of my own domain. And then I also get to be accountable for those who report to me, and not just talking to them the day they don't meet the agreement, but hey, just checking in. You've got that thing due. How you doing? Do you need any support? Are we good? What do you need? What's confusing to you? You still going to make that deadline? We have to be proactive. And I know all of this sounds like common sense, but think about it. In a world where there is volatility, uncertainty, chaos, 120,000 bits of information coming into the prefrontal cortex every single day, and we can only hold on to 120. So there's 140,000 we can only hold on to and really process 120. And then an average person has 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. We have to intervene in that. We have to interrupt in all that noise to make sure that my communication is being gotten over there and that your communication is being gotten to me. So trust is critical in an emergent culture. Trust is actually critical in any relationship, marriage, business, society, government. It's critical. If you want teamwork, if you want innovation, and if you want people to bring all of themselves, trust must be a core component in your culture.